This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
This show is a part of Pop Americana. For more great shows like this one, please check the link in the episode description. Cartoons, the animated frontier. These are the voyages of the Cellcast podcast. Its continuing mission: to explore strange new cartoons, to seek out new animation styles and new creative storytelling methods, to boldly go where so few ever go again. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cellcast,
the animated series.
Joining me today is a man who just likes a little bit of honey, Jacob.
Buzz. Why, thank you. I'd like to introduce our co-host, a man who just happened to grab the wrong jar. Welcome, Drew.
Why was it there?
Who knows? It's for comedy relief. It's
Obviously.
Be like, poor Maximus.
Yes. Poor Maximus. Today we are reviewing Season 2, Episode 3, The Return of Quaid, which first aired on July 1st, 2018. It was directed by Tom Caulfield and written by Jeremy Shipp. In this episode, following the Baron's defeat, Rapunzel and the group are ready to depart Vaderos, but Rapunzel is unhappy to leave the city in such a disastrous state, and with a vacancy of power, Anthony the Weasel decides to take over Vaderos for himself. Rapunzel and the group intervene, but Anthony promises to return in a few days to permanently take over the city. Rapunzel and the group stay to fight, but find the citizens unwilling to help. Vex advises the group to seek out Captain Quaid, the retired sheriff of Vaderos. Rapunzel and the group meet Quaid and convince him to help, but Quaid is rusty after years of retirement, causing him to lose confidence in himself, but also believes Vaderos is no longer worth saving. Rapunzel and the group retain Quaid and secretly help restore his confidence by faking a robbery. With renewed confidence, Quaid agrees to help, and in the process begins to inspire the people and makes Vex his deputy, but changes his mind when he learns the robbery was faked. Vex, Rapunzel, and the others are left to face Anthony alone, who returns with a bounty hunter. They hold the upper hand against the group until Quaid returns and alongside Vex are victorious, after inspiring the citizens to take back the city. This episode introduces Reg E. Cathy as Captain Quaid. However, this episode was recorded a year prior to his death. Or it came out a year after they recorded it, and he had died in an intervening time.
Yeah.
And apparently they must have needed a couple more lines because Keith David did some additional voice work for the character.
Oh, okay.
And while you're listening to it, there's a couple of lines where it's like, why does his voice change so dramatically? And that's why.
Oh, okay.
It's an entirely different guy. This, of course, features the return of Britt Robertson as Vex. In this episode, 3 of Lady Kane's thugs appear in the episode. Mm-hmm. The picture of the bearded woman who appears in the episode Challenge of the Brave is placed in Quaid's office. And that Reggie Cathy's last role as he died of lung cancer over a full year before the episode even aired. Although he does have one more appearance in the show. So, bees.
They get everywhere and they're not fun.
No. They're coarse, they're rough, they get everywhere, and they give me a rash. I'm sorry, that's going to be the full quote from now on.
Yeah.
This is a very interesting episode. I mean, I was surprised we stayed in Vaderos past the first 2 episodes, because I thought we were getting on this road trip, and we don't immediately leave town.
No.
Even though it felt like we were leaving town at the end of the last episode. But
they gotta flesh out the mythos, the mythology of the town.
Apparently. This episode, I mean, I keep repeating myself. I actually like Vex's character growth in this episode. I was from the first time she appeared, admittedly, even though she had obviously a much more thought out character design than most of the people of Varderos.
Yeah.
I kind of assumed she was just going to be someone who helped then and was, we'd never see her again.
A one and done character.
Yeah, pretty much. We'd see her in the special, then she'd leave. But then we get 2 more episodes with her, and we see her go from being this cynical and sarcastic brat to essentially being a deputy and actually feeling like she can help the town, and probably being the first person that honestly wants to see the town get better in this town, besides our group.
True.
So I mean, it was nice to see that. The whole thing where they were trying to get Captain Quaid to come back to town, that was it was interesting to go over that. Especially Lance trying to pretend to be a robber.
Oh yeah, the overacting is
I
genius.
had flashbacks to The Princess Bride. When Andre the Giant is pretending to be the Dread Pirate Roberts. There will be no survivors!
Genius. Absolute genius.
So that's... And the fact that, he got exposed. I was kind of surprised they didn't have Quaid in on that, to be honest. Not because, they wanted him to trick people, but it's like, get the idea that we can make the town better.
Yeah.
Is kind of my thought. And that's, just so that he was aware of what was going on.
Right.
So the fact that they didn't, and you have this fast turnaround, it's like, I'm going to make Vex my deputy, and we're going to save the town. It's like, wait a minute, that robbery was faked? Well, the whole thing's kaput. I'm leaving town again.
Yeah.
It's like, really? You're doing this 5 minutes before the end of the episode, right before the big climax?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Because you're going to come back. Mm-hmm. We know this. This is how these shows work.
Yeah.
You're going to come back and save the day. Quaid ex machina.
Pretty much.
But yeah, it's a good episode. It's not my favorite.
Yeah.
It's not even my favorite in Varderos. More on that next episode.
Yeah.
But this is a fun one.
It is.
What do you think?
I enjoyed it. We get a little more of Hex and her almost unwillingness, and it's like, I don't want to get involved, but somehow I'm kind of compelled to, in a way. We get it's more about all the exterior characters, rather it's has a focus on our characters trying to do good and trying to make Varderos a better city again, but more of the focus is on Captain Quaid and Hex and the people of the city. And I enjoy that, where they're trying to build up the mythology, the story, the more world building, which I love. About when you have, because you can look at a lot of cartoons and see, okay, you have this potential if you do it right, but they don't do it. For more often than not, definitely if you go back to 80s, 90s, there's a lot of cartoons out there that don't really delve into the mythology and the origins of stories, or places they go or something like that. And it's a real breath of fresh air when you have writers who are so passionate, so dedicated to just fleshing out the story, and with how far as I understand how Tangled the series, or Rapunzel's Tangled Adventures, ends, they flush everything out. It's so incredibly well done, and I love the little details here and there. Definitely when we get in Varderos, and it's just an amazing story. It's an amazing story, and this is just a little more mythology we're gonna weave into this story, and I love it.
Okay,
that's it.
All right, that brings us to the end of this one. So join us tomorrow for our next episode, which is Goodbye and Good. Wait, is it Goodwill and Goodbye, or Goodbye and Goodwill? It's Goodbye and Goodwill. Come, Jacob, we must prepare for next week.
Prepare for what, Drew?
The same thing we do every week, Jacob. Record a podcast!
Oh, boy.
So where can they find you, Jacob?
You can find me on Facebook at Jacob B. Heron, also on Facebook at Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where I try to draw each and every day. I don't get to it as often as I like, but join me there. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Jacob B. Heron, on Twitter at Jacob Heron, and Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. So where can they find you, Drew?
You can also follow me on Letterboxd at ggeorge759, Facebook as Drew Dodgen, my Facebook page where you can see pictures I've taken at Drew's Photo Bin. You can also follow me on Twitter at ggeorge759.
You can email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com.
You can also follow us on Twitter at cast_cell.
You can follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/thecellcastgaming.
You can also follow us on YouTube at Cellcast,
Listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts,
Google Play Podcasts,
Stitcher,
Spotify,
and your favorite podcast directory.
You can also listen to us on the Movie of the Week podcast with Jim Heron, where we talk about live action movies. And remember, Cell is a single L.